which is more expensive? Is it food or your health? For sure, you will lose weight super fast on this diet. And this is when you begin to see the magic happen. And I mean a small amount, because some avocados can be as big as my head. So in a recent video, I told you how I lost weight using a plan, which I've now called Nancy B's life-changing 5-point scale diet for weight loss. Today, I'm going to show you the sample meals that you can prepare at each of the 5 levels of that plan. And please remember, I'm not a doctor or a healthcare professional. What I'm going to tell you today is from my own experience, opinion, and research findings. So let's get back to the plan. Remember, the higher up you go, the more effective it becomes. And this model is based on the principle of carbohydrate reduction. So let us start at the bottom. And please note, for this video, whenever I mention meat and you are vegetarian or vegan, you are free to replace it with another vegetarian protein of your choice. I know in many parts of the world, there are many vegetarian sources. For example, you can use soya or soy meat, tofu, tempeh, or spirulina. If you're asking, where can I get this? You'll find that there are many times there are stores or supermarkets that are visited by mainly vegetarian members of the communities. So if you go to these stores, you'll be able to get these alternative high quality proteins. So we start at level 1. At level 1, we have the common sense diet. Remember, at this level, there'll be no junk, no industrial foods. And the principle behind this is that we'll reduce your carbohydrates as we progress. So at level 1, you will start with an equal share of carbohydrates, proteins, and vegetables. And typically, this is a lunch or dinner meal, but you can also eat it for breakfast if you wish. So at level 1, I commonly ate ugali, that is maize meal, with beef and vegetables. And the ugali could also be brown from sorghum. Another alternative I liked to eat, or I still like, is chapati or roti with beef and vegetables. So you can also replace chapati and ugali with another starch of your choice. You could use rice, sweet potatoes, arrowroots, or any other starch in your part of the world. The vegetables can be cooked or raw. In general, I prefer eating cooked vegetables for my lunch, and I like the traditional African vegetables, especially the black nightshade, the spiderweed, and amaranthus. Sometimes I also eat cabbage and kales. For breakfast, I prefer to eat raw vegetables, and the same for dinner. I prefer the raw vegetables, and I mostly eat Italian spinach or baby spinach and tomatoes. Again, you can use any other vegetables of your choice. For breakfast, I would say the first important thing you need to remember is to avoid eating a sugary breakfast. The best thing is to eat a bland, that is not sweet breakfast. So this means do not take fruit juice for breakfast. And I know, especially in this part of the world where I'm making this video from, many hotels will like to serve you fruit juice. They like to serve you cereal from a box. Please remember, do not eat cereal for breakfast from a box. However, you can eat homemade cereal. You can also eat a small portion of your leftover lunch or supper. And there are other options you can consider for breakfast. I know bread is a very popular breakfast in many parts of the world. So option 1 for bread is to eat 4 slices of the small bread, the one that's about 500 grams or 600 grams. You can also eat it with 2 eggs and vegetables. Please note, I'm always including vegetables. Option 2 is to make homemade cereal consisting of groundnut, flax seeds, chia, and pumpkin seeds. And I prefer to add yogurt, but if you don't like yogurt, you can use fresh milk or even just water. These seeds and nuts are very good for your health, especially if you're over 40. So you can Google and see the benefits. And please remember, as much as they are beneficial, seeds and nuts are rich in protein, but are also rich in fats. So you need to watch the portions, as I will guide you shortly. So at the common sense level, to make this cereal, you'll use 3 tablespoons of groundnuts, 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, and 1 tablespoon of flax, as well as 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Depending on what you want to add, you can add 250 ml of natural yogurt, which is my preferred. It has no sugar. If you prefer milk, you can also use 250 ml of meat. I advise that you keep your vegetables, which for me are raw, in a separate plate. And you may have a small amount of sweet fruit. And in this case, I mean any tropical fruit such as banana, mango, or pawpaw, or even apple. So the maximum amount of the sweet fruit will be 2 tablespoons. And please first eat your vegetables with a small amount of fruit, then the cereal. Now we are moving to level 2. At level 2, what we call the healthy plate, half of your plate needs to be vegetables, a quarter starch, and 1/4 proteins. And you can use any starch of your choice. Some of my preferred starches, like mentioned, is rice, chapati or roti, sweet potato, and arrowroot. The only difference between level 1 and 2 is the ratio of the food on the plate. Here, we have now reduced our starch from 1/3 to 1/4 on the plate. For breakfast at level 2, you can still enjoy some bread, but now use 3 slices of bread, which we have reduced from 4, and 2 eggs and vegetables. Once again, you eat your vegetables, then your bread. Alternatively, you can use the homemade cereal which I've showed you. The process is the same, but now we'll be stepping down the quantities. At level 2, you'll only use 2 tablespoons of groundnuts, down from 3, and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, down from 2. We'll maintain 1 tablespoon of flax seeds and 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. And then we'll use 200 ml of milk or natural yogurt, down from 250. So we have cut 50 ml from the yogurt, we have cut 1 spoon of groundnuts, and we have cut 1 spoon of pumpkins. So we keep going. Please remember that you should start by eating your vegetables for breakfast, and this time you're allowed only 1 spoon of sweet fruit. So if you like mangoes or pawpaws, I'm sorry, you can only have 1 spoon. So start with the vegetables, then the fruit. Now we have moved to level 3. At level 3, this is the low carbohydrate, high protein diet. The golden rule is that no more than 1 feast of carbohydrates per day, and that is serious. This is the maximum you are allowed to have per day. And this is when you begin to see the magic happen and the scale begins to move. So if you're liking this video or you think it's useful, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel that I may be able to bring you more content like this. Also share it with a friend or a family member. Actually, level 1 and 2 are training ground for level 3, where the real magic of weight loss happens. However, I will discourage you from starting at level 3 because it is tough. So don't start at level 3. If you start at level 3, you are likely to give up and not continue. So what can you eat for lunch and supper? So here you retain the half plate of vegetables, quarter proteins. And what worked for me was that I decided to divide my feast or ration of carbohydrates into 2, which I would eat for breakfast and for lunch. Then no carbohydrates at dinner. At this point, you can increase the protein ratio by a small amount, like 20% maximum. So Here, we are eating the same foods as in level 2, but there's a drastic reduction in carbohydrates. So at level 3, a typical breakfast can be different options. Option 1 is where you can have the bread. So you'll be having 2 slices of bread or 1 slice of bread, depending on the carbohydrate ratio in the other meals. Then you can have 2 or 3 eggs. So note here, there's an option to increase the number of eggs and vegetables. And once again, you eat your vegetables first, and then you follow with the other food. At option 2, you can have the homemade cereal. And this time, for the homemade cereal, we are reducing the amount of ground nuts to 1 tablespoon. We retain 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and 1 tablespoon of flax seeds. Again, we need to reduce the yogurt, so we'll reduce the yogurt to only 100 or 150 ml. And if you feel the food is too dry, don't add more yogurt. Add more water. If you notice, we've really reduced the amount of groundnuts and milk in the breakfast. At level 4, that is the very low carbohydrate, high protein diet. Here, you do not eat any direct carbs. It means no eating of rice, no chapati, no ugali or maize meal, no arrowroot, no sweet potatoes or any other potatoes, because this diet is basically proteins and vegetables only. To guide you, you'll need to increase both your proteins and vegetables. So you can increase the amount of protein you are eating to about 1/3 of the plate, and the vegetables to 2/3 of the plate. So a sample dinner or lunch will be something like beef and vegetables or chicken and vegetables. You can also enjoy my favorite, fish and vegetables. And my favorite fish is tilapia. And in this part of the world, when we cook tilapia, we don't throw away the head. We also cook the head. And then at the point of eating, we eat all the flesh from the head and throw away the bones. So once again, I prefer cooked vegetables for lunch, raw vegetables for breakfast and dinner. A typical breakfast on level 5 is like 4 eggs and vegetables, and at least 2/3 of the plate should be vegetables. You may add a small amount of avocado, and I mean a small amount because some avocados can be as big as my head. At level 4, there's no homemade cereal. This diet, this very low carbohydrate diet or keto, has been used in the past for medical purposes to treat patients with diabetes, high blood pressure, and even heart disease. For sure, you will lose weight super fast on this diet. However, if you return to eating carbohydrates, the weight will return. Like I mentioned before, I've only done keto for 2 days. This is after I returned from Mount Kilimanjaro with raging sugar. And I did this to get my sugar under control. After that, after the 2 days, I went back to a low carbohydrate diet. You'll find that most people do not permanently do keto or very low carbohydrate. They will probably cycle in and out of keto. Say 1 month on keto, 2 or 3 months on very low carbohydrate. At level 5, you have now moved to the carnivore diet. Basically, you're not eating anything from the plant. So it means no vegetables, no carbohydrates, no plants. You're only eating meat. So your lunch or your dinner will be beef or a chicken or a fish or any other meat of your choice. Your breakfast will also be the same as your lunch and dinner. The only alternative you have is maybe to replace your breakfast with more eggs, and you could eat 4 to 6 eggs depending on what you'd like. You can also replace some of the eggs with just egg white alone. I want to mention that it's important you note at level 5, you do not eat any homemade cereal. So you'll find that most people who eat carnivore or level 5, eat 1 or 2 meals a day. And you'll find that level 5 is the only option that works for some people. And they've actually lost a massive amount of weight. Personally, I have never done carnivore, but if I need to do it for my health, I will. There's documented evidence that carnivore has many medical benefits, including as an intervention for diabetes. Many people have reversed their diabetes on carnivore, reduction in high blood pressure, improvement of heart disease, reduction of inflammation and arthritis, among others. And please remember, even if you reverse all this or lose weight, if you go back to eating carbohydrates, the weight will come back and the associated problems will come. So, how do I maintain my weight at the moment? I've invested in bulk cooking or meal prepping, which encourages adherence. Actually, my diet is quite boring because my meals are quite repetitive, as I've shown you. And depending on the day and what I have to do, I could eat 2 meals at level 3 and 1 meal, mostly dinner, at level 4 in a day. Sometimes I will eat breakfast at level 3, lunch at level 2, and dinner at level 4. Having gone through this pyramid, and we've seen the options at all the levels, I'm sure you are asking, will I be able to? Yes, you can. It just depends on how badly you want to lose weight. However, there are those who will give excuses, saying that, oh, this diet is expensive, the meat is expensive. But tell me, which is more expensive? Is it food or your health? When excess weight leads to diseases like diabetes, and which progresses to kidney and heart disease, which one is more expensive? I know for most of you watching this video, your problem is not really seriously the lack of food or the lack of money to buy the food. Your problem is actually having too much food and sometimes too rich food. And there are also meals that have been thought to be healthy, which are purportedly supposed to help you lose weight. In reality, these so-called healthy meals or healthy foods are actually causing you to gain weight and even making you sick. I'll be talking about this in a future video. So keep watching my videos that you don't miss this one. See you in the next one.